Minutes after 11 o'clock and 80 degrees at Regional Radio. Tuesday morning, Ozarks Racing Roundup time here on 103.7 and myozarksonline.com. Mountain Dew by Dickey's Barbecue and by Super Shane Eidson with us this morning. Brennon Willard is back. Dylan Bates is here once again, so we're ready for a full hour of racing roundup talk here on Regional Radio KJL. What a show it was at the Bandit Creek Series at I-44 Speedway on Saturday night. Brought back memories of the halcyon days at I-44.
Absolutely. To see the wild side as packed as it was, the grandstand as packed as it was, and just to see the excitement going on and people back in the stands and to see that place packed full. And I always told people I always stick around after the races, and I stuck around for maybe an hour after the races just talking to people and stuff. I got in my truck, I drove around the back road, and I got to the corrals there. There's some corrals there from Willard Farms, and I got there, and they were still lined up, and I had to wait probably another 40 minutes
trying to exit the speedway.
To get out of the speedway. And I told myself, I said, this is a problem that I can deal with each and every time we race here because this is awesome. But it was a great time, and the fans enjoyed it, and hopefully they'll be coming back for July the 3rd, and I challenged them to come back and had a little competition there for drivers and for fans to pick the winner, and then the loser had to buy that fan's ticket. So I don't know how many people did that, but we'll see. We'll find out on July 3rd. But I think Brennan was there too. So, and then Dylan, he was doing other stuff for the racetrack. So
we had guys scattered all across the countryside.
I just think you guys are too young to remember. So I'm gonna show my age, but Kevin was around. That was like the Art Go days.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an Art Go quality crowd. It was like when Carl Edwards was there. It's cool. And I mean, that was the first topic we had, being at Sell at I-44 again. But it was cool. Like, it's different. And everybody keeps asking why. Why does that bring more people than you can fit in tier parking? Yeah. It's sold out the fan deck. We sat in the pits because people didn't realize a lot of these people have never been to a race before. And so people didn't realize you could sit in the pits. Or you could buy a pit pass and sit in the pit stands, which I probably shouldn't be saying this. They come back next year, but that's where we sit. And that was the only place to sit. So it was a lot of fun, good racing. It's different,
It's a different event.
It is. And they, that challenge race that they had, and not the, they had the one race that's just like the Chili Bowl Pulse Shuffle. Dylan will be familiar with that. Yeah. If you watch Chili Bowl, they do the Pulse Shuffle on Friday night. Same thing. And I think that started in Knoxville. So that was a cool little race that they did. And then they did a challenge race, what they call, I think that was called the challenge race when they did the split the field in half, right?
Yeah.
Okay, did a fan win $100? Did a kid win $100 if they had the winning driver? Or what?
That was during the King of the Hill, the shootout, Bandit shootout. So each kid had a golden ticket, and then of the number, and then once their driver lost, then that kid goes back to their seats, and then the final kid that's standing there won $100 just from the shootout deal. And the shootout deal was there was nothing for that. They just wanted to do that for the fans because usually they said, like before when they were here, that's probably when we ran our support class during that time right there. But they wanted to fill some time in, so they ran that Bandit shootout deal. So, and then they had Frisbees with the numbers on, and they threw that to the fans. And if you got in the top three, and you had that Frisbee that got in the top three, you got money there too. So quite a few fans came home with some money and some prizes.
I love that. Get the kids involved.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And the one thing that I saw, we were, like I said, we were sitting in the pits, and this lady that her son was racing, we were asking her questions, and I guess she thought we'd never been to a race before. And funniest thing of the whole night was she's like, it used to be you had to run half feature to get your start money. So I asked her, and she's kind of looked at me, and she's like, no, the winner gets the most money. I'm like, and I just acted like I'd never been to a race in my life, but it was that challenge race when they split the field in half. They did odd numbers and even numbers, just like the Art Go series used to do. They beat the crap out of each other. And I'm like, I was like, what's this pay? She's like, points. I'm like, y'all are junking each other for points.
What's the championship pay?
It must pay a lot because they were junking each other for points. And I thought, you know what? This is cool. That's one of the reasons people were there. And I don't care what anybody says. Last week, I don't know if you guys talked about the Milwaukee Mile. There was, I don't know how many thousands of people were at the Milwaukee Mile last week, but that was a huge crowd. Fans want to see something different. They want to be entertained. That was something different. It was cool.
Right.
There's black smoke and tires squalling. I thought it was very exciting myself, and glad to have them back. And one of the other things that happened last week was the return of the fan deck, the Tees fan deck.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
That place was packed all night. You two are too young to go in the Tees fan. I guess anybody can go in the Tees fan deck. They are selling Bang Energy drink, which is really cool. Our friends at Missouri Eagle distribute Bang Energy. So that's cool to have them back in the energy drink department. And so they had Bang Energy and plenty of Anheuser-Busch products on tap or in bottles, I guess. And I noticed I saw the Budweiser truck coming down the hill a couple times. And the truck fans drink a lot of beer. And
you were trucking beer in?
They were trucking beer in.
and food.
And it was cool watching that Bud Light truck come down. And I'm like, okay, they're having a good night over there. So, awesome to see that. And I don't know about y'all, but the fan deck, in my opinion, is the best place to watch the race.
Oh, absolutely. Like before the race, I just went around and listened to the speakers, make sure everything was working and stuff. And they were doing their practice and stuff, and I sat there. I've never been over there before because, like I said, well, now I'm old enough to go over there, but at the time I've never been old enough to go over there. So I went over there and I sat. I'm like, and we talked about this many times. There is not a bad place at Lebanon I-44 Speedway, I don't think. And the only bad place there is at your home and not being there. But
yeah,
but and what Brennan was saying was when you have two late models racing each other and they make contact, they will separate, and that's the only contact that you will see. These semi guys, when they made contact, they were staying in the guy.
They were magnetized.
Pushing them up the racetrack. And you should have been.
Well, it depends who's hitting in a late model.
Yeah,
Separate or not.
Yeah, there's some people. Yeah, there's some people that I swear they're like ping pong balls. You're racing against them. They're bam, bam. I'm like, hey man,
but
10-2 straight.
but then fans, once that was going on, them fans like to see from a bird's eye view. Them fans were on their feet cheering. Fan deck. I heard a lot of, because I spent my time outside over there on the VIP suite tower because the live stream team was in our booth, and the fan deck was going crazy. They had a great night over there.
They did. So Dylan was our friends at Worldwide Technology Raceway. They had their truck in ARCA race, and I watched it on TV. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome race. Both races were really good.
Yeah.
But talk about your experience up there and what went on up there this weekend.
Yeah, so I went up to Worldwide Technology Speedway this weekend, and we met up with Peel Motorsports. They had, since they're from the St. Louis area, they live like 5 minutes from the racetrack, and they brought their late model over and had it on display. And we kind of partnered up with I-44 Speedway and them and raffled off a suite for I-44 Speedway for the remaining races, and we'll draw the winner here at the end of the show for that. But and that was great to see people coming up, because that was just a good crowd to be advertising for the racetrack for sure, because I had probably a solid 15 people come up to me and guarantee me that they will be at the next race, because we were up there, we were advertising to race fans. Those are people who are looking for races every weekend, and now that they know that there's an asphalt short track just 2 hours down the road from them from St. Louis, I think we definitely attracted some new fans. And I'm excited to see them show up. But as far as the racing goes, I'd like to thank Brennan for hooking me up with sending me up there with the vendor passes and everything. I don't really know where I was allowed to go, but I know where I did go, and I went everywhere. I was telling them before the show that I actually bribed the pit gate man with a General Tire stress ball in exchange for me entering the pits. I don't know if I was supposed to be there or not, but I was just
don't mention his name because he might get fired.
Did you go to the Kartplex?
No, I walked past it. I watched someone get hurt at the Kartplex.
I believe it. Those things run 60 mile an hour at the end of the straightaway.
A seat broke off and sent this kid flying. I can't make that up. And they had to red flag it, carried this poor kid off. They fired them back up and kept going.
Yeah, that Kartplex, man. Those rental carts up there. If you've never raced before and you want to experience racing, go to Worldwide Technology Speedway at Gateway. Go to the Kartplex. It's called Gateway Kartplex. It's open 7 days a week in the summertime. And you show up, and they got helmets and neck braces, the whole 9 yards, and they've got I think it's a half-mile road course or something set up.
Yeah.
And
they can change the road course. They've got different barriers.
they've got lots of different layouts.
Curbs that can move around.
They've got
a garage.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of cool things there. Is one of the things they've done is Margay Chassis, which is based out of St. Louis, is like the largest world road course chassis in the country. So they most of those are imported, so it's like the largest one in the United States. So they have garages there, and they race those all the time. And so you can literally keep your cart there. I don't know what it is a month. It's very cheap. And you just show up, work on your go-kart whenever you want. If you buy membership, you go out and you can run as many laps as you want to run with your cart stored there.
I mean, they put your name above the garage door.
Yeah, it's a really cool setup. And it's a cool experience. I went and raced 2 years ago. I raced in one of their races, and it's competitive and it's tough. I mean, road racing is completely different than what I was ever used to. I've always wanted to try it, so I did it, and I had a blast. But the end of that straightaway, that hairpin is pretty crazy.
That's where the seat broke.
Yeah, They
I was sitting there eating
you're going 55, 60 mile an hour.
Table when a kid went zipping by.
Yeah,
not strapped to a go-kart.
Yeah, it was. That's pretty cool to watch. But good lap, bad lap. Ty Gibbs passed there going into 3 to take the checker there. What do you think?
So from a fan standpoint, I was actually one of the first people. I was talking about having access and stuff. I followed Hannah Newhouse all the way to the Victory Circle, just down the pit road, and I was one of the first people to shake Ty's hand afterwards. So from a fan standpoint, it was very cool to watch him win a race like that, especially his first one. So good lap from a fan standpoint, but right now with all the way these ARCA and K&N races are going, there's been a lot of people knocking each other out of the way on the last lap, and at some point
I didn't think he touched him. Have you seen the replay?
I saw it. I couldn't really tell.
It's so hard to tell if he even touched him. He bonsai'd him.
I was down in turn 2, so it was hard for me to see. But yeah, I saw it on the big screen.
I thought it was pretty cool watching the TV broadcast and seeing Grandpa Joe Gibbs up there, just a smile on his face. But that kid drove the car into 3, and I could, it was so hard to tell if him and Sam Mayer made contact. For sure, one thing happened. Mayer saw it, did not expect him there, and oh boy, and turned up the track.
That race was it was a roller coaster of a race from the beginning. You started off with Michael Self leading, of course, on points, and then I think Hocevar had the leads, and Sam Mayer had the lead, and no one could ever, once you had the clean air, it's like no one could ever get up there and get around the leader. So you had guys leading and then checking out on the field, and you're like, oh, well, he's got it won. And then next thing you know, caution comes out, and then you got a new leader, and you're like, oh, he's got it won. And it was a crazy roller coaster of a race, and for Ty Gibbs, I think he led 1 lap.
Yeah.
So
the best one to lead.
That was a great race, the ARCA race for sure. But like I was saying, with these people knocking each other out of the way, but I don't, like you said, I don't know if he touched him or not. But bad lap for that right now, because we've had a lot of race wins in the K&N and ARCA series right now of people that didn't have the best car and weren't the best driver that really just kind of bulldozed their way to the front. And I don't know, at some point you've got to win a race because you were the best driver, not because you bulldozed the leader.
So Haley Deegan is the center of this controversy, and it is, there's both sides of the fence, and it's kind of cool because I remember her racing at Lucas Oil Speedway in the off-road trucks, and her dad Brian was a very famous motocross guy, and she's from off-road trucks, and she has no fear, a lot of talent. She out-qualified the Cup drivers on the road course at Sonoma. Austin Dillon's in that race, Hemrick, Priest,
Gregson.
Yeah, like all these guys are in this race. Haley Deegan sat on the pole. Like, she has more talent than I think. Her talent level is just sky's the limit. And they made a good move by keeping her in the K&N series, ARCA series, not moving her up to trucks. But like Dylan's saying, that's the big controversy right now is, you watch that race from Gateway was an ARCA race, so it's on live. But then the K&N races are always on Thursdays on NBC Sports. You can hit record on your DVR and watch it. Like this week's race, there was controversy, but not over rough driving. But she hasn't won a race without controversy.
Yeah.
And I was against, I kind of put a meme up of her monster trucking the guy to win a couple weeks ago, Kraus.
Yeah.
But after watching that whole race live on, the broadcast, he got what he opened that door.
Sway bar and was trying to make passes,
and he monster trucked her on the restart. And when you monster truck somebody, or you come in and you door somebody, it's game
I've had
on.
it done to me as a driver, and
Yep.
you just sit there and you just stew about it after it happens. The only thing you can focus on is getting back to that person.
That's right. And when you get back to them, it's coming. I mean, so if you door somebody, you cannot do it again.
Yeah.
Or you can't let them catch you. So I don't know. I think it's good that she's aggressive in winning races, but I'm like you. I don't like the
in
the
a situation where you really need a win. I understand it, but and this early in the season or mid-season for them, and just knocking people out of the way. At some point, you're going to have to win a race because you're the best driver and best car, and you were the best that weekend.
Or you do it and then you say it's racing. That's part of racing. You go in there and just door slam something. That's not a part of racing.
Yeah. Yep.
Like what you
Part of demo derbies.
like for the Charger race, like you guys said, it's not going to be a demolition derby. If you go in there and just door slam, but like to me as
Rubbin's
If
racing.
you clean somebody out and
Yeah.
move them up
Yeah.
the racetrack, that's racing. If you go and you wreck them
Yeah.
and they spin out where it's caution, where you can cause a caution, no.
There's a thin line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really.
And the thing with weekly racing, and years ago, it was, how do you get things better? Well, one of the things you get, how do you get people to the racetrack? What brings the oldness back? You didn't jack with Larry Phillips. Like you mess with the bull, you're going to get the horn. You know what I mean? Like you did that to Larry Phillips. You knew better. You did that to Mike Goldsberry. You knew what was going to happen to you. And that's the same, you have to race people with respect. And, that's just the way it is. Jack Jones just commented, he raced with Brian Deegan when he was racing. Jack was a professional motocross racer. A lot of people didn't know that. He said Brian was a bulldozer. I could see that.
I'm pretty sure that was actually his nickname for a little bit.
The bulldozer? Well, there you go.
His son, Hayden Deegan. The whole family is. Hayden Deegan will be a Supercross champion. I guarantee you. And
Is he the
whole
little
family,
4-year-old, or probably
the
not 4
backflip?
now? Yeah, like little bitty.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He's got 2 kids. One will be a stadium super truck driver, and one of them is going to be a motocross racer. And every member in that family will be a champion.
Yeah. So while we're on the bulldozing topic, good lap, bad lap. NASCAR suspends Johnny Sauter for wrecking the 16 truck under caution. What's your guys' opinion on that? Shane's speechless over it.
well, I think it's good, but if you do it to him, I think you just got to be fair to everybody else. And then, like, for instance, I'm not going to mention no names, but we had it happen a few weeks ago at 44 too. But
Yeah.
You'll win or you lose. You'll have people complain if you make the right choice. You'll have people complain if you make the wrong choice. It's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. They're officials, and if that's what they want to do, then we respect the name that's on their back.
I think Austin Hill you don't wreck Johnny Sauter. That's kind of known too.
I was in the garage area for the trucks, and they were actually pitted side by side.
That's how it always happens too. You do not wreck Johnny Sauter. Like, you just don't. And Austin Hill not only done it, he did it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with wrecking somebody under yellow. I actually think that's the most, that is a no-no. I was at Texas when Kyle Busch did it. And I don't agree with that, period. You handle it, on the track. But a good thing got brought up, and I don't know if you heard, Dylan might have heard this interview. They interviewed last year's truck champion, Brett Moffitt, and they said, what do you think? And this is before the suspension came out. He said, I don't think you can suspend somebody for wrecking somebody under yellow at a slow rate of speed when the week before you got wrecked at 180 mile an hour. So
with a life on the line.
Yeah, and that's a different deal. So, wrecking people, not cool. I mean, I don't agree with it, period.
Yeah, see.
And that's what you get into, that just like the semi truck race the other night, you could see the 55 truck was going to take out the 5 truck. You could see that coming for 2 laps. Like it wasn't hard to see the 55's out of control, the 5 truck's coming, and he hits the wall. And that was the best truck, in my opinion. By far, the best truck there was the 5 truck, the fastest one, and knocked him out of the race and cost him $10,000. So I thought he took it well. I've never seen somebody.
I have never, like, the best part of the night was, I'm like, all right, this guy is going to get mad. Yeah, because I think it was the 41, that lime green gray truck.
Marshall Davis, he's the one that won it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one that won it, so it wasn't him, but another truck like wrecked and was in the infield, and he was like mad and all that. But like Tim Ashley, he like never seen this in my entire life. He wrecks down the front straightaway, almost takes the front fence out. He has his hood is laying in the infield, and he just gets out of his truck, stands on top of his truck, and just cheers.
That's
the
some
crowd,
monster jam.
Yeah, it was.
the crowd goes wild.
He got monster trucked, and I'm like, I'm watching it. Actually, I was watching that part on the TV broadcast. They had an unbelievable TV production, but I was watching it, and I'm like, I'm gonna be getting out of my car too. But if I'm standing on the roof, I'm throwing something off the roof. Somebody turns me head on the front straightaway wall, they're getting something thrown at them if I'm getting out of the car. I'm not throwing my helmet. Those cost too much. I'm going to find something cheap and throw. And I played baseball. I'll bring that back. My arm will hurt for a couple of days. But I couldn't believe it. He's up on the roof cheering, and the crowd.
Oh, the crowd
went nuts. They loved it and had a good time. But, yeah, that was the shocker of the night to me. Somebody getting wrecked and being all right with it. I'm like, man, old boy must have paid for the damage or something, because I'm not going to be all right with somebody junking me on my front straightaway for sure. But it is what it is.
I got a question for you guys. We were talking about bulldozing and stuff. As a driver, if you, on the final lap, if you go in turn 3 and 4 and you bulldoze somebody for the win and you win that race, how would you feel?
If I reeled that person in from a straightaway back, couple seconds back, couple tenths back, and I knew and I was confident in my heart that I was faster and I just ran out of laps, I wouldn't be above giving them a shot in the rear bumper. I'm not going to wreck them. But Tim Swearingen did this almost spot on the first race last season.
Yeah,
he dove in there
and
went towards Kenny, hit him in the bumper. Kenny still won, but that was exactly what I would have done in his situation. I would not wreck somebody.
Yeah, I mean, you can't wreck somebody to win, in my opinion, but a bump and run, that's cool. Now, the whole thing is, so if, let's say I'm leading and Dylan comes and does that to me.
And Brennan was kicking my butt.
No, I mean, if you do it to me, which is okay, you can't be mad when it's done back. Yeah. That is my whole, and it's so much has changed.
See, I have to know that person's better than me at that night, though.
Dale Earnhardt, how many times did he, he didn't bump and run people. He bulldozed people. When Jeremy Mayfield did that to him, he didn't get mad. And they played the radio. He came on with the radio to his crew and said, hey, don't say, what's he going to say? Like, he's monster trucked how many people to win races? Yeah. And so they did it to him. So you can't, there's no, bump and run taketh, bump and run giveth, I guess. There you go. You get what you get there, I guess. We're going to take a commercial break before our next part.
Yes. 29 after 11 o'clock, and it's 81 degrees. The Ozarks Racing Roundup will continue after this on 103.7.
If I'm
from Dickie's Barbecue. While you're watching the race, we want you to think about lips.
I feel like taking a shot in the last lap isn't bad. But if I know I'm a couple tenths off and go in there and just dive bomb and try to win a race that I obviously wasn't going to win, the whole time, then it's something different. But
I wonder if Mountain 3 points. That's all I want to know. If I get
25 cents.
25 cents a drink.
That happened to me.
Take some T's Redneck Shine and put it with my diet Mountain Dew and have the radio show.
The new fan.
Welcome to the Ozarks Racing Roundup. Be like Harry Dole on Major League 2. Be like Mike Shannon announcing the Cardinal game. Hey, while we're on commercial break, even though it's on live on Facebook, I want to ask Kevin's opinion. What's up with the Cardinal fans giving Pujols a standing ovation for hitting a bomb against them? I can't handle that.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
I like Kenny Wall's post. He left for more money.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a loyalty involved in the situation.
Yeah.
And I forgot who he told, but he told him, he said, I think it was one of the teams he's playing here is the World Series. I'm like, then why did you left for more money?
I don't blame him for leaving.
Yeah,
Good for him.
Money talks, but
And I'm proud of the Cardinal ownership for making that stand in 2012. I mean, how bad would it suck to have that contract right now?
Would. I think the wife had a lot to do with it. She felt she was
mad.
scorned.
Yep.
So.
Yep. But you know what? They made it up. The fans, great for giving him standing ovation for coming and all that. But I'm like, what? And he had a home run. They booed the pitcher for walking him or something. I'm like, what happened to we used to have the best fans in baseball. Now, I don't know what we got.
And then there's the rest of us.
All right,
You know,
let's see, we got. We're on to.
We haven't hit Ross Chastain
is
and
made
Chuck
for
Race
us
or
with
Anthony King.
ingredients that
All right,
no
we'll hit
other
those.
special
Let's hit-
foods,
yeah, we gotta hit
anytime,
those three
anywhere.
things, and then we'll
Mountain
hit
Dew
on the
Kickstart comes in
announcements.
12 bold flavors
Mountain Dew.
too. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Bold, refreshing,
You had those Kickstarts?
boosted to
No, I've never tried one.
They're not bad.
28 before 12 noon here on the Ozarks Racing Roundup Show here on Regional Radio KJL. I-44 Speedway will take this Saturday off, and then Salute to 75 is coming up on the 3rd of July.
Wednesday night.
My favorite night of the year. Salute to
too.
75 on July 3rd. Of course, 75 laps, a whiskey barrel on the line from our friends at Independence Stave, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
The coolest trophy of the year, besides the fact you're winning on Larry's birthday. Blue collar 30 for the Hornets. So it's 30 laps, $1,000 to win. They'll draw for starting positions. And so during our heat races, they'll get the hot laps. So a lot of those guys I know will be getting to the track late. So they'll get a couple of different hot lap sessions.
That'll get intense, won't it?
30 laps, $1,000. Simple.
$1 entry fee.
$1 entry fee. And I think Shane wanted to talk about that entry fee, right?
yeah. I just want to do something for the track and for their drivers and giving me this opportunity that I have. So as it's anything little or anything done to help, the drivers appreciate that. I've seen that in the weeks past. So my part, any Hornet driver that comes to the blue collar race, their fee is paid for by Super Shane. So you have no entry fee, so you're racing for free. So
Take that back. No entry fee.
so
Yeah.
if you don't show up,
And all that money you're going to give to the last place driver? The entry fee money we'll just give to the last place driver?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
yeah,
There we
let's
go.
do that. Yeah, let's
Hard
do that.
Luck Award. Super Shane's Hard Luck Award.
Super Shane's Hard Luck Award. So we will, most definitely. So
I like that.
no entry fee. It's free. Either way, you're going to come home with money.
There you go. I like that. And I'm really excited about this race. Brian Brown and his radio show he does on Monday nights on Facebook come up with that, and I think it's a pretty cool deal. And really excited about that. There's going to be kids' bikes given away that night. Of course, 75 laps for the upper late models, and that big money, big trophy.
I'm so pumped. I've watched that race for years, and it's always been my favorite race of the year
Now
because
you're
it's
in
not
it.
too long, not too short. And now I get to start this race, and I'm going to try to win this race, not just start it. So
Yeah, I think this race is a little bit unique just because of the 75 laps. Like you said, it's a marathon. I mean, I remember the year I won it. I was riding on lap 20, and everybody wanted to get racing really hard on lap 20, and I was very frustrated with some guy, with basically a teammate that night. And we were racing really hard, and I'm like, I'm not racing hard on lap 20. There's 55 laps to go at this point. I'm going to ride, and it worked out for me. We ended up getting shuffled back and then came back up through, and that was just patience because I knew that it was going to get pretty interesting there at the end, and it did, and I was hoping that it would, and it did, and it just worked out. But my car had faded a little bit too, and on the long run that night, and I needed like a 40 lap run, not a 75 lap run. So it is it's a whole different setup, and be unique, and that trophy's pretty cool. I know there's a lot of people who want their name on that trophy. I'd like to have my name on it again. So that'll be cool race, and then the fireworks afterwards. So there's so much going on with Color 10's going to be there broadcasting live from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I think. Somebody's going to win a storm shelter. So if you go to their website and enter with their Viewers Club, I think it's like a $5,000 storm shelter. There's 4 Cardinal tickets that are going to be up for grabs.
the federal protection, when is that?
Federal
coming back?
protection, I think, will be on July 27th. Talk more about that, I think, in a minute too.
$500 firework package.
Yes, there's Gary's fireworks giving away $500 firework package that night. So
if you go home empty-handed,
yeah, your kids are gonna get, your kids are gonna have a shot. There's gonna be 12 bikes there for kids to get. Of course, the kids' bike race is coming up on August the 10th, so you can get your bike and get ready for the bike race. So that'll be cool. The kid can come to the racetrack, win a bike, and come back.
I can probably actually confidently say there'll be more than 12 bikes.
Yeah, I think there will be 2.
Yeah.
So a lot of bikes for kids to be given away. That's going to be exciting.
8 already that have been bought, and Brian and I haven't bought ours yet. So
yeah, so the Johnson Racing team out of Lebanon has purchased 8 bikes to give away to kids that night. The drivers are purchasing these bikes on their own. The drivers are giving back to the race fans that night. They're giving back to the kids. So I think that's going to be an awesome program for the kids. So basically, kids 12 and under are free.
Discounted admission, basically.
Yeah, it's $10 to get in the grandstands, $15 on the wild side. So
any kid that walks in gets signed up for this raffle of a bicycle too.
Yes, and so keep your ticket. Basically, when you get there, keep your ticket and make sure that you have your ticket. And if you have your ticket, then you will, be ready, be entered to win the bike. So that'll be a cool event. Of course, the fireworks are always can't beat the fireworks that happen on July the 3rd. It's always one of the biggest ones around. That'll be a lot of fun. And so what do you think on this? Now the entry fee's open to everybody on the Hornet race. So do you think we'll see a ringer enter? Will somebody get out of their seat and try to get the $1,000 for a ringer? Or what do you think?
I hope so. I hope that like the Charger class, it's the easiest car to come around with. So there's cars sitting anywhere. So I think last night they made the announcement that it's open to anybody. So if you guys are wanting to say that driving a Charger is easy and all that, and you're a Pro 8 model driver or a modified driver, well, get it. Brennan did it, and then so
it's fun.
So
if you got a car, my phone number is
no kidding. I mean, give me a call. I will drive your car, and you can have. In fact, you can even have the winnings. I just want to race in the race. It would be a lot of fun, and it's a random draw. So you're going to randomly draw. And it's going to be on that little track. I think they're going to start up to 24 or 30, but it's 30 laps. It's going
30
to be
laps,
chaos.
Tyson Moore.
30 laps of chaos on the inner track. So to me, that's what that track was built for. It's July the 3rd. You're going to have a huge crowd. It's just going to be a fun night. So many giveaways, so many fun things for everybody. So why don't we put our Hornets on center stage too? And to me, this is going to do it. So
it's going to be awesome. You're going to have racing on the track, and you're going to have a lot of racing off the track too.
Yes, there is. There's going to be a lot of that. Dawson Hollow is going to be live in concert as well. So there's just
they played a couple of years ago, and
they're very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So just stuff going on all the time. Get there early. We told everybody tier parking was going to sell out. It did for the Ben at Big Rig Series.
Guys, I
think
I arrived at 5 o'clock Saturday. I was a little bit late. I was just astonished when I drove in to see there was cars parked on the back side of the top part of the general parking lot.
Well, I got a little worried there because I kept on, because I was so busy and stuff, and I kept on looking. I'm like, the wild side, I'm like, all right, it's like halfway full. I thought we were later in the day than we were, and I looked at my clock, and it was like 4:30, and I'm like, we're just at 4:30 and they're already halfway full. And I look over and they're still lined up to and what's cool is the Bandit guys had never seen anything like the wild side before. And I was like, if you guys want to see the biggest salute that you'll ever see in your guys' racing, I said, I'll show you the biggest salute that these fans can do. And they had never seen had the flashers on the wild side and the flashers on the grandstand and the suites. They had never seen that before. And when them semis were pulling out on the racetrack, they were pulling the horn, and you could tell that the Bandit Series officials, they're like, this is awesome just to be over there and to have all that fun. So it was good to see that wild side packed again.
I thought it was cool they'd open the gates at 1:30 on the wild side, because they were on the road, and of course state was going to be calling. And so they had to open the gates an hour and a half early for the wild side Saturday. So that was cool to see. And just I really think you're going to see the same type of crowd on Wednesday, July the 3rd. It'll be a fun night, and you can't beat fireworks, race cars. That's kind of the deal: is fireworks, race cars, hot dogs, America. Yeah, and you've got the return of the fan deck, which it had its first huge grand reopening of the fan deck there last Saturday. So that's gonna be a lot of fun on July the 3rd, and it's not just fun for the drivers; it's gonna be fun for everybody, and a lot coming up on that. I know we've had a lot of racing going on besides the Bandit Series at I-44. So Chris Jackson had won 9 or 10 in a row, and his streak was stopped at Midway on Friday night.
Yeah. First off, the McCowan family is probably going to give Jack all the credit because around 3, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, about till 4, it just rained. And Jack he's very dedicated. He loves racing, especially now since he's got back into a race car. But I got to the track around 4:30, and I was like, there is no way. And Jack's like, yep, today is the day of bad decisions. And I was like, because they said the sun was supposed to come out after this rain came through. Well, that didn't happen. The sun didn't come out. So he scraped
heavy racetrack.
Yeah, so he scraped the top off, and once he did that, it was like ugly, beautiful. It was the best racing surface that I've seen in a long time. And Dylan McCowan, he I said this.
How old is Dylan before we go too far?
14
or 13.
I'm very old.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I was telling these fans was this was his first career win, and he has spent, I can't tell you how many seconds he's got, but he has spent a lot of laps behind Chris Jackson. And he's not one of them complainers that say, well, Chris Jackson needs to do this to change and make his car slower or do this. No, he's not one of them. He's the ones that study Chris Jackson, see how Chris Jackson runs, and while he's back there riding in second, he's studying him. And during the week at the shop, he's working a lot harder.
Yep.
And that's what showed Friday night because it wasn't easy for him. He had to work for it. And
at 14 years old, he just beat Chris Jackson.
Yeah. And Tyler Knudsen.
There was a lot of good. Yeah. There was several really good cars there. And that, I mean, Chris has just won $2,500 the week before in Iowa and won in like 3 in a row at Lucas. He's won at the lake and went to the next night, went to the lake and won again. I mean, that car, Chris finally, whatever bugs he had figured, to work out, he did. Now Dylan's in the same car, same chassis, and kind of share notes a little bit, and it showed. And good for him. He's a good kid. He raced at the winter shootout, and I really got a lot of respect for him because they just raced anything they could get into. They raced, and I think that's. If you're a kid out there or a parent out there and you're like, I want my kid to be better at racing. There's no difference in racing than there is anything else.
Race anything.
Yes, racing, whether you're racing on a iRacing setup or you're racing in a Hornet.
At a racetrack driving something every weekend for the past 8 weeks.
Yeah, you got some big kart wins lately. So you've capped off your winter shootout kart wins and you went out there and got you some more kart wins. How about that?
Yeah, I'm headed out to Twister Alley one more time this weekend. I'm going for 3 in a row, and I'm retiring for the summer.
So I saw Riley's tires.
Yeah.
Those all for this weekend?
Those are all for this weekend. Yeah.
So go-kart racing, I don't miss that day. So speaking of go-kart racing, there is some go-kart racing coming to I-44 on August the 10th. They will be having the Unlimited All-Star Series as making a visit to the racetrack. I've heard, this is speculate, I've heard 30 to 60 horsepower on these go-karts. Oh, wow. They're unlimited. So I have no idea what to expect, but I know they're going to fly. So that'll be pretty cool, and that's on August the 10th.
Peel those tires.
It will. And there's going to be some stuff come out. Local divisions will get to enter as well. And that'll just be earlier in the day, and they'll run their features in conjunction with the big car program that night. Big thing, though, I think the Roval, big announcement on the Roval. Dylan kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit last night. I'm pretty excited about this because I think it gives a lot of us more time to get cars ready. The Roval date, because of all the rain, is going to be moved back now to October the 5th. which that'll be a cool day for Lebanon. You got the Ram Guts Glory Barbecue on Friday night and Saturday day. So go get yourself some barbecue, and then you can come to the racetrack that night. So that's going to be after the season for the Hornets, the street stocks, the modifieds. I think you could even take a Big Ten for sure, a truck. I would want to, I think would be a good thing to enter into that race. And so there'll be a lot of guys that can enter their cars they've been racing all year into that race and run for really big money on October the 5th. So July 27th will be a weekly show. And
Breaking news.
Yeah, so you want to tell the breaking news for July 27th, or who's going to bust it out? You got it?
I'll let you do it.
All right, so it wasn't my idea, actually. Nick Cherry came up with this idea, and so we ran with it. David really liked the idea, and so a lot of the Hornet drivers, you got breaking news for you again. So this is like July is National Hornet Month. Hornet Month. So Lakeway Schools is going to be the sponsor of Hornet Month. So July 27th, that was originally the Roval 300. It is a makeup race for all the rain dates. It'll just be a weekly show for everybody, except the Hornets. They are going to run the Roval that night. So you will run the Roval. You will not run the Intertrack. You're going to run all the Intertrack, but you're going to run the full Roval.
But you're going to run the other.
And for a couple of reasons. One, it gives that class something different, unique for them, and it gives those guys, in my opinion, an advantage on October the 5th. Because if you want to run that track before October the 5th, you better find a Hornet. So that gives everybody advantage. There'll be no practice before this. The race scheduled as of now for the Roval 300. So you'll just run, I think, 15, 20 laps. Their drivers will probably get to choose that. But they will run the Roval on July 27th. So very excited to see that. What do you think about that, Shane? What's your opinion?
That's going to be awesome. So especially these two main events, and to have these entry-level classes that have these big events, and it gives seat time for drivers. So if you want to enter, if you already entered the Roval race, come up with a little cheap charger, and then you get seat time and lap time to see what it's going to be like around the Roval of Lebanon I-44. Yeah.
Big advantage, and I think that's going to be a cool thing. And running the Roval, the excitement, to me, the excitement the Roval is going to bring, and another thing it will do, it will also give everybody the chance of, hey, you might want to tweak the chicane on the backstretch is the thing that can be tweaked. If you've been to the track, like everybody, it seemed like in the whole world was there Saturday night. If you saw the curbs for the Roval, where you come off of turn 4, make a real sharp left, I went through that in a pickup truck at pretty good rate of speed. I've not been through it in a car yet, but
I'll hot lap it in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
I'll curb hop.
Yeah, it is going to be. It's going to be so challenging and fun, and so, and I personally think, as tight as everything is around that little track, I think that a neon is an advantage. So I think that, if you're a Hornet driver, you're going to have a huge advantage. So a neon, a Grand Prix, anything like that that's quick, you're not going to want a lot of power. You're not going to have it. You're never going to get your power down for more than, literally, you're going to come off of basically the entry of turn 1, come around to turn 2, you're going to be wide open, and then you're going to be locking up the brakes again. You're going to make a real hard left, and you're going to go through chicane and back out on the racetrack. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. If you watched the Roval last year, remember the wrecks on the back straightaway. People are going to blow through that chicane, and that's going to be, there's going to have to be tires set up, and that might be fun to watch. Tires sling the care parts. It's going to be fun to watch. It's just things that you're going to get to see drivers do. It's a whole different element. I don't think there's very
like
many
a
people road
600
race.
gear in my Big Ten.
Yeah, get you. Yeah, that would be about right. And it'll be so much fun to watch that. So July 27th, weekly show for everybody, except the Hornets, which is a weekly show for them, but they will be running the Roval. Now, the Hornet drivers, if you're an I-44 point driver, they are going to all get show-up points on July 3rd. So you will get show-up points for entering the race. So everybody will get the same, so it doesn't affect your points. Now, the Roval,
since it's starting on pill draw.
Yes, since it's starting on pill draw, yes. But now the Roval, that'll start on however. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It gives something else for our fans and everybody to do. And I think, October 5th, year's over. You got nothing to lose. Bust your car out and go. I think it's $4,444 to win that on October 5th. So you want to win $4,000? You can care less to
you're going to tear down your car anyways during the off season and fix it. So you might as well go out. You might as well tear it down yourself.
Have a little fun tearing it down.
And what's going to be cool is especially on July the 27th. What I'm interested in is going 4 wide like in turn 4, and then you got to go like 2 wide into the.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to go.
Kyle Busch was complaining about dirt being drug onto the track.
Yeah.
What do you think the rumble's going to be like?
Did you guys see Kyle Busch's interview
with
Clint Boyer? Yeah. And did you see Kyle Busch in practice on Friday? Kyle Busch wrecked 4 times Friday.
That was the most hypocritical interview
I know. And he's like, there's 40 idiots out here that we can't figure out to drive. We had to pave the track because we're driving through the dirt. And then Clint Boyer's like, you did include yourself in the 40, right? And then asked him how many times he spun out yesterday. So that was pretty funny. I cannot believe that race went green, white, checkered. And NASCAR had so many times to throw cautions and didn't. And
yeah, that really surprised me. Who was it that was like, Landon Cass was like sitting in the middle of the track.
There's people everywhere. And I'm like, throw a yellow. It's going to make it good. And people have been so critical of NASCAR overthrowing cautions in the past. And they were calling them phantom cautions. And I mean, there was a Twitter handle called Jacques Debris, and there's so many things giving them a hard time. Well, they've made a change, and now they're on the other side. There's cars everywhere. There's dirt all over the racetrack, and they just let them go. And I was like, well,
I think you had to flip one to get a caution.
I know.
I bet Tony Jackson's a fan of that because that 110 green, white, checkered, he probably was wanting one of them cautions.
Who would have bet money, in all honesty? How much money could you have won if you'd have taken the odds on that bet that you would have won 110 laps?
I would have never been dumb enough to make that bet.
No, nobody would. Kevin, would you have thought that 110 laps, green, white, checker?
Nope.
I mean, with that kind of money on the line. Nope. And that was the thing about the Pro Late Model class that in 2010, 11, 12, it was pretty rough out there some nights. And what people don't realize is you had a lot of cars going in 30 laps, and everybody that was in the back was faster than the cars in the front. And it made for Talladega wrecks and very exciting, very expensive to the drivers. And the drivers have gotten better and better and better. And it's cool to see that they've all everybody's kind of matured a little bit and worked their way up. And now you've got a heck of a field that can run 110 laps green light checkers. So I was pretty excited to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something cool. But we just progressed, in just the first 2 races. First 2 races were caution filled. So in 2 races, we've already learned, how we're going to race for these long distance races. That's pretty cool. I would like to see a caution though. But
yeah,
Pro Late Models. I mean, we've got a lot of long green runs this year in a couple of races.
There really has been, and it's been you went from the longest race of the year now to the shortest, big race of the year. The Ram Throwdown 100 is coming up September 28th, so you don't have. You got a long time before another long race. And actually after the 75-lapper, you got like 5 consecutive 30-lap races. So that's going to be a big change and probably a lot, much welcome change for a lot of guys. But it's be interesting to see. Yes. Yeah, you're going to go from one to another. So go to the Big Ten. So I know you've got a drawing. There was over 100 entries for this sweet drawing at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So one lucky
There's no
fan.
telling where I had entries from Canada in this deal. So
they drive all the way down from Canada. I'm betting our friends at T's Redneck Steakhouse will even throw in their beverage of choice. So you want to make the drawing?
But this was a race fan. He was a race chaser. It would not surprise me if he came down from Canada. So I'll make the drawing.
Dylan's gonna make the look here. Hopefully, they even tune into our show to find out.
Michelle Fozard.
That is a St. Louis zip code.
636.
So 636 number. So Michelle Fozard is the winner of
2-hour drive.
2-hour drive. She's got a suite coming up at I-44 Speedway. Dylan will be contacting her on her lucky win. Congratulations to her. I know you got any closing thoughts or rants?
No. Other than Ross Chastain coming back and
I was so happy for him that he did. Ross Chastain has earned everything that he's gotten, and
I don't want to sound like a bandwagoner, but he's got to be my favorite driver. I've been a fan of that guy since 5 years ago when he was racing for Brad Kay. Even before that, when he was racing for Bobby Daugherty. So, I mean, everything that Ross Chastain's been through. I've supported that guy 100%. He can drive.
Guy rant.
For any Cole Williams fans, Cole, his schedule is going to be changed. So he was supposed to come down this weekend, but now he's running Nashville because they're doing a rain makeup date. So he's running Nashville and then going back to his house, and they're changing everything back over to 11.944, and then they'll be down. So Cole will be racing this weekend, and then like I said, it's great to do the Super Shane Hard Luck Award and pay everybody's entry for the blue collar race. So
I think I need to reach out to 10 Arms again. I got one of his Innovate shields, but
They're nice, aren't they?
they're very nice, but it'd be interesting to see if they can get through the weekend. A lot of those guys will come up then, and they also got the July 6th race at Bolivar, so you've got 2 big late model races coming up that you can run. So I think you'll see some guys come in. The July 3rd Salute 75 is enough to draw people in, but you've got a shot to go run Bolivar too. So I think it's a great weekend coming up, or week coming up next week, and a lot of racing this weekend. Midway's racing, Lucas Oil Speedway's racing, the Lakes racing. So all your local tracks are racing. Go to your local short track. I don't care if it's dirt, asphalt, whatever. Support your local short track. If you want to really go watch dirt late model racing, go to Saline, Oklahoma. Pretty cool place as well. But there's a lot of racing going on this week. And then July 3rd, to me, it's going to be the maybe the best race of the year. It's 75 laps.
I'm pumped.
Gloves are off. You've got a rivalry going with Cole and Tony, and I think you got a lot of other people in the field that are wanting to take wanting to take it away from them. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And the other rivalry I see is the chassis manufacturers.
Yeah.
Port City is throwing out certificates now to drivers, which is pretty cool. But Port City is really in on this battle. They need, they're in on the late model battle. And you got Port City and you've got Hamke / Rowdy Manufacturing all going at it. And I think that's pretty cool to see at I-44.
Good show, guys. We'll do it again next Tuesday. That'll do it for the Ozarks Racing Roundup Show. It is brought to you by Pepsi Mountain Dew, by Dickey's Barbecue, and Willard Asphalt. Live and local news coming up next on KJL.
Your rough riding driveway, give us a call at Willard Asphalt and get the smooth, comfortable.
I'm rusty. I haven't been here